Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into. Yes, it's a very late live stream anyway, and we're joined by me and Spider, the usual crew. And let me know your thoughts. If you are new around here, as I said, make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below. We've got quite a lot of new subscribers to the channel as well. So make sure you do get your comments in as we do progress live. But if you are watching on the repeat in the morning or whatever, make sure you do get involved because we all will always reply to your comments as always. But Spider, it's been a fantastic night for Liverpool, mate, and I just really get your first thoughts on Cody Gakpo signing for Liverpool, and what does this mean for you personally, and how important do you think he'll play a part in this year's campaign?
I think in simplifying terms, Salah and Nunez have been playing pretty well together. They've been passing pretty well together. They've been doing the best that they can do in the limited spaces that they have, without the limited help that they have. Because I mean, they do have a Harvey Elliott behind them. That's only he's a young lad. He's trying to track back. He's trying to move forward, and there's not a lot breaking. I think with a lad with a stride like Cody Gakpo, with his strength and his ability and his passes, he can play in a majority of versatile positions, as we know. We know he's more to the left and number 10 and central roles, but he's also played in a midfield role. He's played like a left attacking midfielder, central attacking midfielder, and he's also done some little bits on the right. But for me, what he's key to doing is unlocking Nunez, whilst also bolstering a counter-attacking game, because he's fantastic on the counter-attack. That's one of his main strengths, and his attributes is on the counter-attack. And for me, he's an all-round good forward attacking player, and he's the type of player that prefers playing his football looking toward the goal rather than his back at goal. Even though he can do it, he can play that way, and if he's needed, he can play that way. But he's really good at just face on players and taking them on, and then creating space for others, or finding the right pass, or even cutting inside and taking a shot himself. But his shots are really powerful. His vision's pretty good. So, and he's only going to learn under the best manager on the planet.
We can never not have enough too many players, mate. As we said, just get as many top class, world class players. Even in the 70s and 80s were at the plethora really of top standard. It just the more quality players Liverpool can get through the door, mate, the better. Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's 100%. Like, we know we had it big time in the 80s, and we did fairly well. But with the injury to Luis Diaz and Jota, this is a perfect answer for Liverpool to do. I mean, they're not waiting. Like, we've seen the frustrating on us waiting on player. When Virgil van Dijk got injured, we didn't really react. We didn't really we didn't respond in the right way quick enough to get.
And I think that was off the back of what Jurgen Klopp has said as well, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
That window, and we understand. Obviously, similar with we'll speak about Jude and certain other players, as we said, mate. I've spoke to you countless times this year, mate, and I think all of us have. Like with Ibu Konate, you can understand why Liverpool waited that long, because he was already at such an elite level in terms of when he come in from RB Leipzig. Then,
I think that's a good reason to wait for any player when he's that good quality. He just played in a World Cup final, and and he did pretty well. You can't. LJ's in bed with the low light on. Thanks for LJ. Cheers.
Big up chat, everyone. I think you're all in bed with the noise. But get in, Dave. As I say, Alex said there. Has Dave got his PJs on? Hang on, let's have a look. As Alex has said there. Big up, mate.
No, look, what a signing Gakpo is, man. It's the first time. I think we're acting quickly in this window. It was great as well with the little tease from Virg to say, like, it was around the same time that Virgil announced his arrival at Anfield, like a few days before the window, and he said, "Dude, you need to get a Christmas tree." And then all of a sudden, the camera goes up and there's a Christmas tree waiting, and he appears in front of a Christmas tree. That's just a great.
Just those two, as you can see, mate. Like those two. Like, it looks like Virgil van Dijk.
Jack, how long have I been saying it yet? Since I heard these Enzo links, right? Enzo's a great player. Don't get me wrong, lads. Enzo's a great player, but he's not a £130 million player. We have to stop hyping up these kind of prices and players stupidly. Like everybody was talking about Erling Haaland, kind of going, "Oh, he's going to be 150 million. He's going to be." He was bought by City for £64 million. You know, he's on high wages there, yeah, but he was bought for £64 million, which means, you know, it's not actually the price. I think this is under half the price. You know, you're talking about like 42% of what he was quoted to being priced. So if Jude Bellingham is 19 years of age, Mbappe was bought by PSG, and this is the problem with teams like PSG. They've inflated the market stupidly in a league that can't afford to inflate the market, if you get what I mean. So the Premier League can afford to do that because they've got billions of pounds of investment from, you know, TV rights deals and stuff like that happened. When was that? When the year after Pogba and Thing arrived at United, Lukaku. I remember that. So it was around that time.
Even at the same time, you could allude that to spot on, mate, and chat. When Chelsea got taken over by Roman Abramovich in the early years, obviously they went willy-nilly in terms of spending, getting the bet, like the amount. They probably, even before, years before, they opened up the whole catalyst really in terms of big spending within England. Obviously with Blackburn, like in the early years as well, United, of course. But even still, like I think Chelsea were the main one you said there, mate. It was
but a number of players have gone for kind of high money. You know, Neymar has gone for high money, Mbappe has gone for high money. We've seen the benefit of Felipe Coutinho going to Barcelona for high money at the time. I mean, at that moment in time, he was the best player in the Premier League. You know, so they wanted him. They overspent the odds. I think that one of the best things that's happened to Liverpool in recent years is their complete write-off of release clauses. So they won't sign a player that wants a release clause. They'll refuse to sign him, and they'll say, "Look, if you're coming in here asking for a release clause, that's not happening. The club will decide where you're going and when you're going. You can have a say, but we'll decide what the money is, where you're going for, and this and that." And that's what I like about the pulling power that Liverpool now have. With regards the move for Gakpo, that's an absolute steal in more ways than one.
Straight on
the United's nose. I mean, that's the pie was out of the oven and they were sniffing it, you know, and they were sitting there going, "Oh man, that tastes Gakpo," you know, and that's the way it went. And you know, the boys just came in and just said, "Oh, that's not your one at all there. Your one there is called an Nautovich. It's just a smaller pie, but you can have him." You know, it's that kind of way. You know, that's just the kind of way the deal is kind of gone down for me. And the same thing happened, you know, with Luis Diaz and Spurs and Nunez and United as well. So I would take Caicedo and even Amrabat. I know people are saying like, "Oh, he's done well at the World Cup. We don't know what he's like," or whatever like that. But it's Fabinho that needs the most challenge in that midfield. More than anybody else.
100%.
He needs the most challenge. And I know Bajcetic coming in, he's a young fella, but Bajcetic has no problem playing third fiddle because he's going to play. He's getting in the first team and he's getting time now. That's great. More game time to him. But I don't want to overdo it like we did on Curtis Jones because that seems to have had the opposite effect on Curtis Jones.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on everyone's shoulders in the mate. So I get to everyone's comments. We're going to be here for a while. So Spider, if we are going a bit late, mate, just let me know. As I said, we'll be going until
I'm on the Gakpo.
We're going until 7 o'clock in the morning. We're staying awake until Liverpool announce the next new signing. It is mad. People do watch people sleep on Twitch, isn't it? Like it's
that's
a category.
Weird,
very strange.
Do you know what I'm going to do, Jack? I'm going to start an OnlyFans channel. I'm going to put my feet up there and pretend I'm a hairy woman. And that's all I'm going to do. And then just see how much money I make off. I'm just going to do an experiment in doing that. Melina, how are you? I said Melissa.
Big up Melina as well.
So many S's there for a second. I confused myself. I've never met you, but how are you? I've seen you on the channel.
Big up Melina, as I said.
Congratulations on first place at the moment.
No, Melina, Arsenal are absolutely flying. And if Liverpool can win the league, Arsenal can, then that's fantastic as well.
Yeah.
And make sure you head over. Mods, can you please drop Melina's channel link in the description? Be massively appreciated. In the comment section below. Big up Andrew. Oh, Andrew, we started already, Have we started this? Caicedo comes right in as like Gakpo's Insta post. I'm gonna have to try and get that up if I can. I'm gonna have to have a little look on that one.
What's the deal with that though, Jack? Why didn't Gakpo take the number 10 shirt?
Ooh.
Is it being held for somebody in the summer? Might one think?
I'd say play the what is it, the mysterious. Dave loves his 70s and 80s like shows,
Yeah.
don't he? The
I
classic.
love it as well, yeah.
We'll play some alien theme tunes there. It's Illuminati confirmed. Liverpool signing
Dave,
Caicedo.
what was the name of that TV show? Oh, was it Get Smart, wasn't it? With your
Yeah.
man, and he had like a phone in his shoe, and he was going through all the doors and things like that. David, remember that?
Oh
He's
yeah,
my
Dave's going commando wavy. You love to see it. Go
age.
on, Dave. Big up chat. As I said, if you are new around here, please do head over, subscribe to today's LFC chat, subscribe to Spider LFC as well. Me and Spider will be venturing onto our very own joint channel, which will be fantastic as well very soon. That'll be more or less up and running by the end of this weekend. And we will be doing a lot of time on that channel as well as all of our channels. But it just brings everything really together. So as I said, that channel link will be getting posted on mine and Spider's community tabs as well. And I will be promoting it as much as we possibly can. So, as I said, it'll be a lot more varied in it, mate, in terms of the footballing content.
Yeah, it's going to be more Premier League style chat. We're going to have a lot more guests on from different Premier League teams and stuff like that. And we'll call it the budget kickoff. If you know, if you know what I mean, you know, we'll just get, you know, less polished people and like ourselves, and then just, you know, chat about football really. So just normal folks really.
But yeah, as Alex said here, considering we are crying out for the midfield edition and Santos brought us an attacker, FSG are going to look silly if we don't bring in a quality midfielder to fail to get. And that's the main thing. That's why I want to do an extra show tonight, mate. And me wants to get started on. Most importantly, he wants to get your thoughts and opinions as well. And as Zaki said, Caicedo, go ahead, son. Type that some more, lad. Yeah.
I take it, man. I was going to say,
yeah, and it's a great point that Alex has said there, mate. And it's we would look very silly, and you already alluded to already. I think a lot of us have that year, 2 years ago, was it, when we had that defensive collapse in terms of the injuries as well. But mainly case in point of, as Alex has said there, the quality in midfield. Of course, we all know, but it's interesting that we've identified another forward. For me, surely even if it's one midfielder, Liverpool surely have done the background checks and done everything proper.
Yeah, I think so, man. Look, I'm delighted that they brought in Gakpo, to be honest with you, because I was really worried about the Luis Diaz and Jota situation on that left. And I just thought, even though Nunez is very effective on making runs up the left-hand side and taking people onto the byline, he still, well, not to the byline, it's very rare he does that. He still likes to cut inside like Luis Diaz and do that. Jota can run anywhere. But I really wanted a player that can do it all. I wanted somebody that can run up to the byline, take people on, cross it in unselfishly, can also turn to the edge of the box, run and blast it, because he's got a hell of a strike in him, Gakpo. Yeah. And, you know, I think that I've said it to you from day one, as I was saying earlier, Caicedo and somebody who can challenge Fabinho is a priority for me. As you see, he's only 21 years of age. He's in a midfield with McAllister, who's only 23 years of age, and they're probably two of the best box-to-box midfielders that you can see in the Premier League. So for me, I would take him in a heartbeat. And I just want somebody to rotate that anchor, because we all know that Thiago plays a maximum of about 28 games in a season. And you just want somebody to be able to come in and challenge and just relieve the pressure on him. So you're saying that you're playing somebody like Forest, I know we've lost him this season, but I mean, you're playing somebody against Forest, you're playing somebody like that. Caicedo is the perfect player to come in and start breaking down that. You've games where Thiago will absolutely bust the midfield, and then you've the 1 in 6 where he'll have a problem with really pressing teams, and that's where Caicedo and the likes of that comes in, you know. Yeah, and that's what I want to see, is that kind of player coming in.
Yeah, Jeff's very much agreeing with there, mate, and agreeing with chat as well. And that's the most important thing in the chat, especially obviously Jürgen was a massive figurehead in terms of obviously signing that new deal. Yeah, we know Jürgen's staying for a very long time, so it's about him getting that second stage, really, in all honesty, as Spider alluded to, getting that understudy, long-term understudy, especially if you are to bring in a Caicedo or a player of that ilk at that age, then you can very much learn from one of the best number sixes over the last couple of years. Obviously, Rodri, Fabinho, Casemiro, of course, at Real Madrid prior to his move to Manchester United. It's only going to benefit in terms of long run, mate. Spider, would you say, in terms of, as you said, getting competition for Fabinho? But obviously, Caicedo's got that quality, or whoever that is, to come in and very much hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think like if you want my opinion on anything, the best two number sixes that I've seen was Fabinho at his peak with Fernandinho in the last number of, let's say, the last 8 years coming into the Premier League. They were fantastic together. Kante, I can't rule out Kante as well, N'Golo Kante. So these guys of that ilk. I know Fabinho's kind of had a drop off in the season, but he's had like a tiresome. Like that's I can't say it enough, and I know I've said it there a couple of months back, even when the Premier League was on. But the season that Liverpool have had last season, if everybody expected them to come back firing on all cylinders this season, they need to get the head checked, because we were going. I was expecting at least a 40% drop off, and I was just hoping to stay with City until such time as we got to January, and then maybe the fitness levels, a little bit of a break that we get, because there's like a 2-week break in that period that we get, would just kind of revitalize us and get us going again. But I didn't think it was going to be that much of a drop off in comparison, because we were knackered. We were going for every competition last season. We could have won the lot, and we went right up until June. We've had a 2.5-week break before we come back, and then we're straight into pre-season again. Then we're expected to be at 100 again, after having the seasons as being the team that ran the most, the team that pressed the most, the team that converted the most tackles, the most, pretty much in the last number of seasons. We've had a defender that's only just come back from a long injury out for a year, who played a good season last season, but a long season in saying that, and then expected him to be the world's best again immediately after being that tired. There's so many factors that came into how Liverpool season has panned out this season, but it's not really down to the style of that Liverpool player or the management thing. But what we do need is, because of that, our midfield is burned out, and it is at about 65 to 70% of what it was. So we do need to bolster there, let alone just to give them a rest to come to the end of the season. Now, these guys could come back, our main midfield, and be the main midfield for next season, and then nobody would bat an eyelid. But we've this great backup then, so.
When you said, mate, I know others think of a Liverpool fan, and even Jürgen Klopp has been on record over the last 2 years, mainly in particular, of certain aspects to the point of what Spies just alluded to there. Sometimes in football, and you hear about great coaches, the stories about them winning trophies, and how sometimes the formula that they have stumbled upon has just happened, not intentionally, but in terms of they stumbled across bringing in certain players, putting them in certain positions as well, and they very much adapted to that given role in that given team at that given period. So you never know, mate. And as you said, mate, Gakpo, of course, Liverpool have been very much forced due to the injury of Jota and obviously Luis Diaz, and I think it will come in the next couple of weeks once everyone's got off the high of the great signing Gakpo is. But I think we might get, sadly, a bit of news negativity in relation to obviously either Jota or Luis Diaz potentially being out a bit more longer than we're already.
I've already said to you that we're probably not going to see the Luis Diaz we know until coming up towards October to Christmas next year, because he's going to be out for the season, lads. Let's call a spade a spade. That injury is bad. He had to go and get an operation to just kind of adjust to that. Even the recovery from that kind of operation alone, from the operation itself, is about 2 to 3 months, and then you're talking about the actual re-healing and the re-sealing of the tendons, the muscles, the cartilage, all this kind of stuff that's been cut through. That's going to take another few months. You might as well call it an ACL and keep him out for the full season and keep it that way, and have him fresh coming in. The good thing about that is you'll have a good refreshed Luis Diaz coming in for next season. On top of that, you've got a Cody Gakpo who's coming in and can play, and he's such a versatile player in comparison to
he was on the phone. Sorry, no.
Is that the phone, man?
He sent me a voice message. No.
I'm bong in the blix, yeah. But but like Yeah, but he's such a versatile player. He can play in the number 10 role. He can play in the false nine. He can play in the striker. He can play in the left wing.
Yeah.
So we can rotate well with him, Jota, Luis Diaz, Nunez. I'm thinking that he's going to be completely unlocked by the likes of Gakpo coming in, because I think he will look to play him in every single time, and his passing range is really good along the floor and over the top. And I think just because the extra attention that Gakpo brings, and now Nunez, Nunez is an absolute menace.
We love
He's
him.
a menace.
I was saying that
he's
to
a
the lads
menace
before
to
as well.
defenses.
Yeah.
He is tearing defenses apart. When it comes to like making runs, doing it, they don't know how to handle him. They're swapping defenders in the centre back role that have never done it, so that you can just keep up with the stride. And I said stride is all important and movement is all important in a striker. What everybody's finishing, his finishing will come. Henry wasn't great when he said. You think of it this way: in the first 20 games for their clubs, Henry has less stats than Nunez. Rooney has less stats than Nunez. Suarez has less stats. Torres has less stats. Van Nistelrooy has less stats than Nunez. All in the first 20 games coming in. So, and then you got everybody's raving about Jesus at the moment playing at Arsenal. Jesus is only a handful of goals, but they're all saying he's brilliant. But Nunez has 9 goals and 5 assists, and I actually count that 6 assists because I count that Bajcetic goal as an assist. I don't care what they're saying about the keeper tapping it out. That was an assist for me. So he's what he's doing is the right things,
right stuff,
and the goals will come. There's no hassle there. The goals will come because people will keep feeding him, and then he'll slot him away, and then he'll get more confident and his finishing ability, and he'll be grand.
Big it up, chat, as well. 32 of yous in here, chat. If you are new around here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below. There'll be a lot more late night live streams as well throughout this week. Of course, there'll be a lot of news, a lot of rumours, a lot of debunking of transfer news that we will discuss and debate and probably dismiss. And really, the excitement. Obviously, this is what it's what makes football fans as well, especially in the modern era of football and supporters. I think. I don't know, Spider, when you were a young lad, a wee young lad, would you say in and around you, your mates and your family and everyone, would you say the modern day history of football there's a lot more, and that's due to obviously the severity of how severe social media has been and how big that has been?
Yeah, like social media sucks, to be honest with you, man. I like this side of social media. I think videos talking about football, chats like this, I think is outstanding. I think Twitter needs to be put in the mud. I haven't been on that much, but I think these kind of places where people have anonymity needs to be cut out. I think you should be showing your ID. I think you should be showing this and that if you want to come onto one of these social media platforms, because that takes away the ability to be a disgusting human being. And takes away the option for that. So yeah, make people verify their accounts, make people do this and that, and shut it up. But especially when it comes to anything to do with, any type of phobia. Let's call them all phobias. Homophobia, Islamophobia, racism, anything like that. It just needs to go. And I mean,
just need to create a good community as well, mate, and everyone's welcome. And
cultures are different. I mean, what I don't like about the modern day society is it's a little bit too woke, but also a little bit too harsh at the same time. So the wokeness is bashing off the harshness. So there was a time when really good comedians back in the day, like Eddie Murphy and George Carlin and all these guys, could joke about cultural differences. And you can't do that anymore because they just say, "Oh no, I'm offended by that. I'm racist." So there needs to be a good balance, and it needs to be all cut off and just kept in the middle. So that's why I like being in the middle. So the left and the right can all fetch off, and we can just keep it right here, and we're all happy.
That's why. That's why I'm happy of being able to be very privileged to obviously create my channel, invite you, and invite a lot of people on as well. And as I said, there's a lot of rival fans that do subscribe to my channel, and everyone's welcome. As I said, together, as long as everyone stays together and looks after one another, everyone's welcome as well. And for them, it's a good option.
He's the left winger, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be a free contract off, obviously, Borussia Mönchengladbach at the end of this season. So, obviously,
4-2-3-1. Nunez.
Well, suppose
Gakpo in the middle, Thuram.
You never know, mate, because we'll probably do a show on Bobby this week as well, chat, because we all love Bobby, but we don't know what's been happening behind closed doors. Whether it would be great if Bobby signed a new contract, but we never know what Bobby, his family wants as well. He might want to experiment in another league as he's at the right age as well. And obviously, Fulham's has an important role to play for, obviously, a Gladbach at this current season anyway. Caicedo next. We can be greedy, Philip Count. We can be greedy.
Yeah.
Early Jan and Bellingham in the summer, boys. Let's go. Here we go. Here we go, Liverpool. And welcome everyone. If anyone's new around here, hit that subscribe button down below as well.
Who's Liverpool Talk? I've heard of a channel.
Not so sure. It's probably everyone. It's quite a lot. But big up, mate. As I said, if there's anyone watching would like to do a collab, you're very welcome. As I said, I need to be a bit more cheeky and just inviting people on and welcoming people on the channel. But big up there, everyone. Egyptian King, big up. I think that's Ricky, probably. Maybe a wee cheeky bid for Frankie de Jong. Get the whole Dutch, the Dutch triangle. Also,
I would take that in a heartbeat, man. Like, give me Frankie de Jong and Caicedo any day. Well, I know Amrabat's in there as well, but give me that. You'd have Caicedo running as an anchor between both sides of left and right, and that midfield leave Fabinho and de Jong rotate. If you're going to do it, because Klopp has been playing 4-2-3-1, so if he's going to do that, imagine Frankie de Jong and Fabinho next to each other. And then the boys bouncing off each other. That's a little bit tasty. You could have so many different options there, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. We'll delve into the Frankie de Jong, Jude Bellingham. Obviously, we're only 25 minutes in, but it's flew by anyway, everyone. So we'll be discussing
about 5 minutes.
Yeah. And we'll have a little look at Benacer as well of AC Milan. Very much a holding number 6. Can play central midfield and central attacking midfield. I think statistically, when you look at all the data and everything, Benacer of AC Milan, obviously we just previously played against him in Dubai. I think for me, he's a player that ticks all the right boxes for Liverpool.
Good. Yeah, he's
good. He's very much a Jurgen Klopp type style player.
No ego, all talent, and just easily controllable. That's what you want. And
that's the main thing as well, Spider, and keep on getting your comments in, everyone. I'm not missing out anyone's comments. So as I said, I'm just a bit slow on reading out the comments because there's that many bloods obvious in here, which is fantastic. But that's it. It's the main thing in it, Spider. And I don't know if you've seen the interview with Gakpo. I would show. Obviously, I can't show it tonight, but if you've not seen it, go and check it out.
I'm waiting to get drunk, and I'm going to giggle to myself in the darkness. This light is going off, and I'm just going to sit there going while eating popcorn and drinking beer in a minute.
It's about creating that winning environment. The winning environment's fundamentally first.
Yeah.
But creating that good environment, a family, and I think Gakpo's quote is saying a family environment. That's why, he spoke to Virgil van Dijk, and that's what the words in which Gakpo did use that when he was speaking to him, he's saying. And Gakpo turned around and said he's basically a family man himself anyway. So he can very much quickly buy into that environment, and hopefully it will make that adaptation a bit more easier.
Yeah, look, when Jurgen Klopp came in, he said, "Doubters to believers," right? Jurgen Klopp is probably he's probably got the personality of myself, except for one exception. He's a very religious man. He's very Christian. He's very. I'm the complete opposite of that. But at the same time, he's created that kind of family. Like, there's no nonsense in there within the team. It's the right type of mindset, the right type of family values, the right type of Christian values, the right type of of beliefs.
That's why we've said as well, when Mbappe gets quoted in headlines of Liverpool, mate, for me, if he was to come in, he'd have to very much behave. Of course, we're not going to sign Mbappe, but
he'd be a completely different player.
Yeah, he'd have to be put on the straight and narrow, in all honesty.
Mbappe at Monaco is a completely different Mbappe that you see at PSG. And the problem with that is that he's been surrounded by the wrong type of people, telling him the wrong type of things and acting the wrong. And he's been big-headed so much that it's very hard to maneuver his head through a bloody door. And that's the issue there. He's got all the talent in the world, but he's doing it in a farmers league, which I don't respect, because he's not left there. He's just stayed there for money, really. And if that's his goal, fair dues to him. Same as Neymar, he'll be forgotten about as not being, because to me, Neymar is not one of the best ever anywhere, because he's been talked about for years. But for me, he's nowhere near the top echelon of any player.
For me, if Mbappe wants to win the Ballon d'Or, mate, he needs to come to the Prem. Especially
absolutely.
It depends what obviously Haaland does in the next 2 years, but if like tonight, Haaland got another bloody 2 goals.
Yeah.
He makes a mockery of the Premier League, like I say, like Kevin De Bruyne, Van Dijk's, the top elite level players. It used to be a case that you were in the La Liga, weren't it? Obviously, you look at Casemiro now coming into the
You
Premier
see the
League.
way his old coaches for Haaland talk about him.
Mm.
He would stay on afterwards and train for an extra 2 hours. He would do this. Who does that remind you of? Your Messi's, your Ronaldo's that would stay there and practice. Your Beckhams stay there and practice their free kicks, stay there and practice your shots, stay there and practice their run and do whatever, you know. And it's, so I just see what if she thinks it. And lads, Russ Morgan.
Big up, Russ. Absolute legend, mate. Obviously, a massive Arsenal fan. You haven't spoke to Russ.
That's why you seen him put in that's why you seen him putting a comment there earlier. I was going to say, who's your man saying we're not rivals anymore? How do you talking about?
Oh yeah, there we go. We're just seeing that, mate. Big up there.
You're lucky that crying laughing emoji was after that, Russ.
Yeah,
right? We are merged, but no, fair banter. Like, I'm delighted that Arsenal are on top of the league, man. To be honest with you,
we'd much rather us be, but Russ, we'll let you for a couple of months and then.
Well, look, Liverpool are going to win the second half of the season on points. You're all right. All right, so you just have to keep a good distance between us, because 15 points is the max I think that any team can be behind before they actually start dragging it back. But Elmas, the Macedonian, what was it?
It's just here. I've not heard much of him, mate. As I said, Elmas.
I'm trying to read the word before I say it, because I'm making sure that's not a joke or something that you put up to say. You know, if you put the two words together, because it makes no sense to me.
No, I'm not too sure. I think you mean the Macedonian winger that plays for Napoli, mate. I don't think he's called that. I know there's an Elmas in the Serie A league anyway, in the Italian league anyway. But yeah, no, rivals is younger brother.
Careful. Is what we want.
Yeah, there's a lot of. It's the thing, innit? Like you look at, like, obviously the great legendary. When you look at players gone by, you look at even the main case in points. Spider, Jude Bellingham. Supposedly, if you ask quarters of the Birmingham Academy, he's meant to be supposedly a bit more better in terms of, and a bit more younger as well. So I don't know. It's going to be whoever does get Jude in the next 12 months or 24 months. I think Job's going to be quickly followed in behind them.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, Job is supposed to be just as good. But like for me, Jude Bellingham's 19 years of age. Why would he go to Real Madrid now?
Oh yeah,
it makes no sense. Look what he's got to take a leaf out of Odegaard's book. With this, he's got to take a leaf out of maybe Michael Owen's book, moving too early. You know, at that stage, you got to take a leaf out of the books of people that have gone to Real Madrid at a young age and just not made it, because they're just bought to stop and being elsewhere, because they can be they're afforded to be kept on the bench. Just ask Gareth Bale. If you want to ask one person, like, why would they move to Real Madrid, then ask him. So, and you got to look at the history of English players going to the Spanish league as well. Beckham had a great first season. Bale had a good first season. Owen had a good first season, and then they dropped off completely. It just wasn't the same type of league from. It kind of, it means, and sense it's more about the flair and the bravado and the singing to the fans, and it's not about the actual football on the pitch. You just have to become this robot that does things, and there's no individuality within these La Liga teams. I think they're just trained robots put in these positions, which is all well and good for the Spanish league to win things, but there's no real individual flair like there used to be early on.
You just get gazumped by the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona, don't they, and Atleticos?
Yeah. So
that's why. Was that why you'd say, mate, a lot of the other bigger leagues around the world? You only have to look at the amount of City players that are from the Portuguese league, obviously Liverpool, a couple of Liga NOS players as well. So it's like leagues like that. Even Gakpo coming from the Eredivisie. It's going to be a bit of a transition, of course, but even better if he hits the ground running, mate.
But I think the Portuguese leagues and the Eredivisie and the likes of these leagues, and maybe even like the Ukrainian leagues and stuff like that, are more suited to create better value players to suit the Premier League, because it's a much more aggressive league than your La Ligas and your Italian leagues. So I just think I was just seeing that Elmas is a real player, so I'm just making sure because I haven't heard of him before, and I'm just making sure. So a new hand in the mix. A new
I'll tell
hand
you
in the
what,
mix.
it'd be
He would.
interesting to see where he does go to as
Yeah,
well. A
yeah.
lot of those Monaco contingents, of course, will be quite rightly so.
Didn't Chelsea just take Bashieli, was his name, off Monaco as well, the defender?
I think so. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, just
I'm trying to
37.
think.
There was something on Sky Sports News today that I was watching. So, um, yeah, there's a number of players, but I just think that the Portuguese league, the Eredivisie, maybe like Ukrainian league, certain leagues like that, so certain hefty body, and yeah, actually a couple of the African player leagues are pretty good and more suited to come into the Premier League. But you just find that most of the African players that come up from Africa kind of go through your France and your Switzerland and the lower teams and stuff like that to kind of get to where they're going. Even some German teams to try and get to the Premier League, which is a good route from. I mean, Sadio Mane and Naby Keita are kind of proof of that. Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool get top four, boys. I think so.
I'll tell you what, if Newcastle, mate, as Talk said there, of course they're not going away, and it's going to be interesting in terms of if Eddie Howe does get Newcastle top four, that is amazing. Like, I know people go over the resources, but it's mainly Spider and to Talk's points. And Chalez, no, it's
he can't spend those resources yet. He hasn't made the money.
No, but it's what I like. I don't know if you've seen it, Chas. There's a great podcast with Jake Humphrey and the other fellow, I can believe his name, but it's a high performance podcast, and you just listen to Eddie Howe, and you listen to him, and he's like, something that Rodgers for me hasn't done. Eddie Howe, obviously prior to his move to Newcastle, had a 12 months out or a period of sustained absence, and he went to a lot of the top clubs in and around Europe, and he himself took note on himself. He listened to he listened to owners, he listens to managers as well, and he was taking criticism on his own game as well. And that's what I like as a young manager. He's done that. He didn't have to do that. Whereas certain managers in the Premier League are very content taking job after job after job and not really evaluating
just
their
jumping
quality as a manager. And then, but Eddie Howe, they're a lot more structured. And you look at the points total over the last 12 months since Eddie Howe's gone to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Everyone watched that Bournemouth team, didn't they, Spider?
But
And it was
what did he do for Bournemouth when he brought him up? You know, the difference that he made in that team, bringing him up. You know, so as a a really young manager as well. So I mean, that'll just tell you that he just wants to learn the trade and he wants to do it in the right way. And I hope that Steven Gerrard takes a leaf out of his book as well. I hope he goes around, takes criticism from wherever he can, learns it, because if he's to be a future Liverpool manager, and learn the way, it's not going to be in the near future. Like, it won't be straight after Klopp. You know, you'd rather somebody come in of
good 20, 30 years away from me, mate.
Do you think 20, 30? Do you think so? I think it's more like about 17, maybe 16, 17. I think he'll be in his early to mid 50s, getting a chance doing that. And I think it's at a time where it's kind of like, he's going to take a lot of manager jobs. He'll probably take an England manager job before he'll take a Liverpool manager job, if you get what I'm saying, you know. So if Gareth Southgate can go in there and do a job, winning nothing and being in teams that won nothing, but just having a philosophy, then imagine what somebody that goes away and learns the trade gets when he comes back in as an English manager.
Yeah, sorry, lad, I am listening. I was just trying to get that. I'm just putting this link in the comments chat. If you up a bit later, or if you're going to work in the morning, you want a podcast to listen to, I've just dropped a link in the chat there. There we go. It's on Facebook and YouTube anyway. The High Performance Podcast. It's really interesting, even if you're obviously not a big fan of Newcastle or anything, but obviously they've got quite a lot of good interviews. They come free. And just check it out. That was obviously the interview that I was alluding to anyway. It's a fantastic watch. I think it's on for like an hour, so it's not too long anyway. But it's great insight, especially in an elite level manager that potentially Eddie Howe will eventually get there, mate.
I was worried about Eddie Howe when he went into the Newcastle job with all the sale and stuff like that. I thought he was going to be coming out of Mark Hughes, but he was just brought in to steady the ship a little bit and then just be replaced by somebody, more high profile. And that's still a possibility. But when you see like interviews like that talk about how much he wants to improve himself as a manager by going out there and taking the hits, then that's That's high level.
That's something Rodgers has never done, mate.
No,
for me,
no, he's not.
obviously,
No,
Brendan's gone to Celtic. Brendan will believe anything that Brendan says, and that was a massive down point of why he got the sack at Liverpool or he left, whatever happened. For me, like he comes across very arrogant. He's probably a great person, Brendan Rodgers.
arrogant, but a yes man as well.
Yeah, very, very yes man. The fact that he sacked everyone around him and still stayed. It was Leicester or Liverpool or whatever happened.
Yeah,
That's said what you think as well. Napoli players, well, interesting level. We'll have to chat. I'll have a little look. Obviously, a lot of the talented Napoli players. Obviously, the young lad up front as well. He absolutely terrorised those Spiders, didn't he? Well, a lot of that Napoli team did.
Yeah, they gave us a headache. But, as I said, that's a tired Liverpool you're looking at, and they deserved to win. They were fantastic on the night. They were by far the better team. We didn't turn up. So, like, all credit to them. I would look at these players if they can do it again and again. And I've watched Caicedo do it again and again against the biggest teams in the Premier League. And that's why I think that's when you think somebody like him can move into a Klopp team and then just become an absolute worldly, So this is why I kind of say I want to see these players. Like, for me, you look at Casemiro, that's won pretty much everything with Real Madrid, and then he moves to United, and he hasn't really made much of a difference there, to be honest with you. He's come in, he's done his job.
I disagree.
No, he's made it. He's ensured that the midfield is a bit more sturdy and movement wise, but he's not really kind of he's not dropping back enough for me into the defense. He's just doing his anchor role, his easy job, moving it over, and it's like the end of a kind of a career payday for me, unless United up their game and then he'll have to up his game and play. But at the moment, I think he's coasting a bit compared to the Casemiro we saw at Real Madrid.
Yeah, of course. Well, for me, on you spot on there, but I was just, and yes, it was Forest. I'll say that, chat. Oh, Christ, we got beat by Forest. Sorry, Forest fans.
We did.
I'll probably
but they were trying against everybody else as well. So we were just off the season at the start of it. So
incoming Forest fans saying we beat you. Yeah, we did. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of us in there. As the thing as inspired, it's about getting that right value. Just quickly rattle through a lot of these comments first.
Yeah. I'll work with.
Yeah, we're going to be going through quite a bit while now as well. We'll have a little look at Moisés Caicedo, have a look at his numbers, Jude, Frankie, Enzo. We know we're not going to get Enzo, but we'll have a little look at his player profile. Ismaila Benacer as well. There's a lot of names we will be having a little look at statistics-wise and really where they potentially could fit in. Zanolino, centre mid. He's quite tall as well, isn't he, Russell? There's a lot of good Roma players coming through that system, and he's one of the top talents in the Serie A. I think he'll probably end up at Juventus eventually. Juve always end up with you look at the DM that used to play for completely forgot his name, but the fella that moved to Juventus, I think it was 6 months ago, the whole midfielder. He had a good Euros as well off the back of that. Obviously, when you win Euros, I'd like to big up their chat as well. Chelsea want everyone. That's the thing, innit, Russell? The fact that they're getting Christopher Nkunku as well, which you don't get. Do you get that, Spider?
Yeah, that's a weird one.
It's when you got Kai Havertz, and I know quite rightly, there's a lot of people criticising from a Chelsea point of view about Kai Havertz.
I think Havertz has been one of the best players, to be honest with you.
I think Kai Havertz is a player similar like a lot of Chelsea players that have gone to the club and very much struggled in that system. When you have so many managers, you look at obviously the player that got signed by Sarri, Jorginho, was it the number 6 or whatnot? There's so many players in that Chelsea team that play a lot of systems, and unless fair enough if they're keeping all the Graham Potter for the next 5 years, which is highly unlikely. For me, that's how I feel, man. I don't know.
Graham Potter's a good manager. He's a good manager as well. But these clubs are ruthless and they have no patience when it comes to building. We're lucky that we're Liverpool supporters and how much trust they put in Jurgen Klopp coming in from day one, even though the results didn't kind of pan out the way they did, and losing that within the few months that he was in. We were in a UEFA Cup final, and we lost that, but they stuck with him. They went with him, and they just believed in him, and he showed it in the end. Because remember the teams he was starting with that we had there. So you got these players that can go and come in, and I like Olise from Crystal Palace as well. I thought he'd be
good
a nice
player,
good little anchor player to come in and back up any of the players in the midfield for things. So Gerrard to Norwich to gain more experience, thinking it'll be sensible. I think that's a great call.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those clubs, because I think Norwich fans have a great following over there, and they're very passionate about their club. Even for a club that is a yo-yo club that bounces up and down every bloody season. But and they're kind of they have an understanding of that, so they'll understand that if Gerrard can bring him up, and he goes back down with him, maybe he can rebuild again and go back up. But I think anywhere that Gerrard can get experience, because no offense, any Liverpool fan worth their salt wants Gerrard to become manager eventually, but the right Gerrard with the right experience
at the right time,
with the right passion at the right time. So I think that's what we're talking about. So.
Because that would be fairy tale stuff. That would be Hollywood. Everyone going, Gerrard didn't win the league with Liverpool. But if he, turned around in the next 20 years, won 10, 18 league titles, something stupid, then it would be, sod that. Won a couple of Champions Leagues, won everything apart from the Prem. But as a manager, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, it'd be great. Jesus, of course it would be outstanding. We'd take that in a heartbeat, And then when James Milner comes off the bench and scores the winner for the league, because he'll still be around then. Jesus, how long, man, But
James Milner's assistant, was he?
Next Liverpool will
Kamal, big up Kamal. And
what's in it?
I like Thomas Frank, and
I've done.
He's got a great personality.
Yes.
Probably one of the best personalities. And Kamal, welcome to the channel, mate. There's quite a lot of new people in as well, so please do head over, subscribe to obviously Spider LFC as well. Mark, if you're still in, making you drop the Spiders channel link in there. But Kamal, it'll be interesting, and especially if you can keep Brentford in. He's doing a fantastic job, Spider? In terms of
brilliant. His football is good. Their pressing is good. Their attitude is great. I think he's having a couple of issues with a couple of little selfish spots up front that the lads are getting kind of ahead. That season they were fantastic, Ivan Toney's been fantastic, so he's still been the same player. But there's a couple of issues where how Mbeumo was playing compared to last season. He was brilliant last season, and this season he's making a couple of bad decisions and shooting before he gets the chance. And that's a clear sign to me of somebody who doesn't like the likes of Ivan Toney getting all the kind of plaudits. So I hope he handles that well, and that's the kind of key thing for me for a manager, watching him kind of hone some of these players and then say, let's keep going, let's keep training. Now, it's only a short-term period thing, but that you always see it in certain teams, and I'm just like, that dude is making the wrong decision for the wrong reasons. I can see it. I can see why he's making that stupid shot.
Tony's been out with a bookie this week, so I'm just saying. He would have won an absolute fortune. He got a double, and he got a sending off without a yellow card as well.
Yeah.
His nano or something must have made about 200k or something this week.
Easily. She's still doing it. They haven't got a clue. But Mark, a few stealth signings would be great, man. I mean, Liverpool, as they're saying everywhere, are the kind of kings of it at the moment. We're just coming in on the radar and just plucking signings out from everywhere. But look, the ends, somebody was talking about Enzo Fernandez earlier and stuff like that. In my personal opinion, I think 130 million is stupid to put on a player that's just had a good World Cup. We've learned our lesson from watching El Hadj Diouf, Marcus Babel having a good European Championship and just spending stupid money on that. We were lucky enough to get some of them for fairly cheap at the time. Casemiro has been the best player, probably. I know he has, but I'm just saying he doesn't have to go to the lengths that he has to run around the pitch, because everybody else has been kind of average around him. I mean, you had...
Especially when you're transitioning from around with midfield, when you got Modric and Kroos to then go with Fred and McTominay.
He's just not... For me, he's not the answer that they need. I think he needs exactly what you're saying.
They needed a younger Casemiro, didn't they?
They did. They did. And I think they needed a younger world-class talent around him as well, just to kind of balance the books, because he can't do it on his own. I'm not saying that Casemiro is a bad player. I'm just saying he's gone to United at the wrong time, in the wrong position, and he's just a bit coasty. That's all I'm saying. He's been good, but coasty for him is still above the level of what's on the rest of the team. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, big up there. I'm
No
just going to
contest.
quickly rattle through all these comments. Made there's quite a lot, which is fantastic. Absolute bloody legends. So say they're good or something like that. Be interesting, Jan. About crime in these streams. Hope you're all well, bro. Big up there, King. We're getting Messi Ronaldo next. No chance. It'll be interesting. And I think your new round here. It would be mad. I think the football purist fan point of view would be imagine if PSG did somehow get Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking like he will. I think it's all more or less agreed. Whoever he's going to next, anyway. Big up. I'm just gonna go through all your
Middle East
comments.
team or something. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think he signed that
A
contract
Nasri or something. Yeah.
Yeah, bear with 1 second.
I don't think he wants to go. I don't think he wants to go there. I think he wants to go somewhere in Europe, but they're just not taking the punt on him for the wages. You know.
Yeah. Big up King. Sorry there, Charles. Getting everyone's comments. I think we'll get Caicedo and Jude in pre-agreement for the summer. Rival fans are laughing, saying we want these players, but when you will be one's crying, just give it. Once we got our midfield sorted, Jan, we'll be sound. Chelsea haven't got a scouting department; they're just checking it. Chelsea want anyone that everyone else wants. They've been linked for them for years. It's the thing, get it? They just go with the trends.
Salah, Willian. They'd be like that if they did that to us, you know, these kind of signings.
If Chelsea kept hold of all their players that they originally signed, mate, they'd be one of the best teams in Europe, in all honesty.
Yeah. After the Essians and Lampards and all of that kind of started fizzling out, and they had the Salahs
and Kevin De Bruyne, Salah.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. What a team that would have been if they just stuck with him, but they have no patience, and that's the problem. They got oil money from, what's his name, the Roman Abramovich, the Russian oil money, and that was it. It became so impatient that everything had to be no, and then they didn't keep on.
Yeah, big up Assad. As I said, everyone, welcome. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of streams to come. Obviously, transfer news shows, we'll speak about them, very much debunk them, and obviously talk about the latest and breaking news as well. We do a lot of pre-match and post-match shows as well, everyone, so please do. As I say, if you don't get your notifications throughout the day, just check on the channel. There will always be content throughout as well, and I'd agree with you there, Assad. I think Gerard has probably would be a bad idea as well. But yeah, no worries, Sparrow.
Just I leave it with Jack. I'm going to use the leader.
There you go. But yeah, 1 second.
That's the beer.
But yeah, 1 sec there, chat. But yeah, it's that many bloody many is better. But yeah, big up there. What was that? Big up media as well. We'll see you at Anfield and PSV fan. We see you at Anfield. I'm a PSV fan and a Manchester United fan. Trust me, Gakpo will be benched when Jota is back. Fair enough there, media, as I said. It's about creating that bit more quality as well. Flick or Tuchel should be a good future manager, since I can't think of anyone else.
I smell salt. Media,
yeah, I was going to say. Moisés Caicedo, Gakpo moves to Liverpool, costing an instead. Ali, I think Andrew was mentioning that at the top of the show. You never know, that'd be good, mate. You have clubs. Don't get their chat as well. Please do keep it respectful, everyone. It's not being mentioned, but McAllister now, how good is he? Talk. But we go inside, we know literally all. And Espinanza, obviously the Ecuadorian, I did watch him quite heavily for Ecuador in the World Cup. But he's another player. I think he's a better player than Marc Cucurella. That has just gone to, obviously, Chelsea. I think Brighton pulled the pants down on Chelsea, in all honesty, for the price in which they got for Cucurella. And they very much replaced him. I think he used to play for Villarreal, Espinanza, before he moved to, obviously, another.
I think anybody looks a bit more active when they look like Sideshow Bob bouncing around the pitch. You know what I mean? Just that's just the way it is. We all see what happened with that lad at Chelsea. What was his name? He came there twice and just he never turned out really. He was a fantastic free kick taker. What's his name? Jesus, the guy. What was his name? He went to PSG and came back for Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Big hair.
David Luiz. There we go.
David Luiz. There you go. Jeez,
he's still crying off that 7-1 from Germany in the World Cup.
He is, yeah.
But yeah, big up there. Elmas. Nate, and thank you very much for tuning in, mate. If that is the case, it probably might have broke when we're live or whatnot. If that's the case, Nate, obviously we'll be doing a live stream tomorrow morning. So a lot of people are mentioning Elmas, so it might be getting
I
quite a
thought it
lot
was.
of
Oh, I
traction.
thought it was all one word. I know Elmas. I thought it was Ijila Elmas. I thought man was trying to make me say one word earlier, but I know who Elmas is, but I didn't know where was that earlier. I thought he was trying to make me say, like, you know, when Bart used to ring up Mo and Mo's
Hello.
Tavern and make him say something to him. That
Yeah,
that's what I thought he was trying to make us do, but I didn't realize because it looked like it was one word. So yeah, my bad.
No, big up there, Avi, as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. And hopefully every single one of you has a happy holidays with all the family and your friends. But yeah, big up there, Ravi. Can you raise answer? Fired. You want to get to pro? There's only more at the age media. Yeah, I think welcome round here, media. As I said, try and please keep it respectful. As I said, everyone.
Not too much salt, no, lad.
Yeah, media. Yeah, enjoy it, mate. Thank you for the views. I'm not convinced on Bellingham is what I'd much rather read people's comments that are very respectful in the comments. So yeah, Matthew, so yeah, sorry, chat sort of them anyway, so it's all good. Gakpo style reminds me of Sadio as well. We want to beat Leicester and critical in the game as well. I don't know if Moses is good enough for Liverpool. He's a little weak because of his age, but it's the thing, Nate. He will develop that. I think when you look at a lot of the top talents,
the same about Salah.
Yeah.
Look how that turned out. You know, if he's already got the talent, Klopp knows how to bring it out of him. Like we've got a Nunez at the moment that's an absolute nightmare for defenders, but can't score a goal in the last couple of games. No, only saying that's in the last couple of games. Before that, he was fairly clinical over the time he played. Remember, he's played something like 19, 20 games, but he's only started a third of those. You know, or just over a third of those. So he's only coming into that game. There's a lot that Klopp and Linders can do for players that people don't understand if they think a player is going to be a flop at Liverpool. You know, it's either injury is going to stop them or not the right mentality is going to stop them. Their talent is always going to be boosted by Klopp and Linders.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, mate. So make sure I was just recapping everyone. Yeah, David Luiz, nice one there, Tom, as well. Ali,
Tom?
Liverpool's strategy in transfer markets to get to the players' head about coming to Liverpool and then push the deal for them. That's the thing, Ali, in it, mates. As they said, and everyone was going off the back of this Gakpo signing, agent Van Dijk, and of course, Van Dijk is the captain of Holland, and I'm pretty sure if Frankie de Jong or certain other players in that Dutch team Spider turned round and said, "Oh, is there any chance?" Or pretty sure Jurgen Klopp said prior, because I think we all seen interviews prior to the end of the World Cup, Van Dijk very much laughed about it, saying the comparisons with being linked Gakpo to Manchester United and Real Madrid, and Van Dijk more or less, I'm paraphrasing.
Why would you want to go there?
Yeah, he paraphrased and said they're not on the same level. In all honesty, he was like, Real Madrid are a massive club from where they are currently. Of course, Man United are a big club, but in terms of the level that both clubs are at now, they're a bloody million miles ahead. In all honesty.
Absolutely. There's no, like, if you had a choice between Man United and Liverpool, genuinely, you would choose Liverpool. It's that simple. There's no question. If you were talking to me 15 years ago, you would choose Manchester United because of where they were standing and whatever. But please, some of your fans need to stay in lane now at the moment and realize that Liverpool is the better. It's a more appealing prospect for any player, especially young, to come and play under a manager like Klopp. And they have to come into United and change their fortunes around absolutely immediately, and that's a lot of pressure on a player. Whereas they know that they'll get time at Liverpool, they're coming into an already built structure, and even if it is a bit lacking at the moment, it just takes these one or two players to come in and boost it, and that's it.
Yeah,
fit in the system, as Panos said.
As Panos said there as well, and as Mark said, please, it's we appreciate the work in the comments as well, mods, absolute legends. As I said, please do be respectful to everyone. Obviously, as I said, there's a load of sound rival fans usually, but big up there as well. But yeah, we'll quickly move on. Obviously, the final stage of this episode tonight, everyone, absolute legends. We're just gonna have a little look-see in terms of other midfielders, of course, obviously announcements. So we've had a little look at Moisés Caicedo. He is valued at in and around £38 million. The age of him is 20. 21 years old. And then we'll have a little tinker at Jude Bellingham as well. You look at his valuation currently is up still 110 million euros. Obviously, transfer market's usually quite accurate in relation to the players' prices. It's just the sheer severity, obviously, central midfield, left midfield, right midfield. So very versatile, Jude Bellingham, as we know. Another name that I did mention. What's your thoughts on this, Spider?
I love him.
How would everyone feel potentially? Obviously, we're going to go through. I've got another two midfielders after Frankie de Jong, but would anyone take Frankie de Jong at Liverpool at the right price?
I would. There is, I mean, at the right price is what you're talking about. You've got a Barcelona team that's just gone out of the Champions League, and you've got a fella that can still, because of where the rules have changed in the last couple of seasons, you've got a dude that can come in and play Champions League for a team like Liverpool right now, and then go up against Real Madrid straight away. So it's all about the project that Klopp is rebuilding there, and you have to notice the difference between a rebuild that's been happening for this is what tells you the difference between structures within a club. Now, when the big owners came in with their big money for the years and in the other teams, they were instantly buying, because before financial fair play, and they were getting away with it. They were instantly buying. But Klopp has built a structure there that he knows these puzzle pieces that need fixing straight away. So he knows he just gets these buys over maybe 2-3 windows max, and that's the rebuilding done almost immediately. So he's already rotated in and out, and he's done that for the last previous years. He really has, because when you think of the team that he took over with at Liverpool, and then he just filtered in some, filtered out some immediately, then filtered in some, and he brought up the level each way, and then we got to the stage where we got to the absolute elite of the spine when you're looking at, Alisson and Van Dijk and Fabinho going up that centre, and then you had Mane and Salah coming in there. That was that rebuild. You'd Bobby there through the middle as well. He still is, to me, the world's best false nine when he's on his game.
For me, it's about getting that profile, as we've already alluded to, mate. Getting that number, 8, I think Frankie, or was he? Yeah, he's 25 now. He's 26 in June anyway, this year to come. And then obviously we got the likes of Bajcetic, likes of other midfielders Liverpool have got at that certain age. Even Elliott, as Chat already alluded to, he's probably just too young slightly, of course, when he has played for Liverpool over the last couple of months and last year. He's really stood out in certain games.
Yeah, he's been great. Yeah. He has, Bajcetic has been fantastic. He's been a standout for me. I actually thought, out of all the young players that were going to come through, even before Curtis Jones, I thought Musalowski was going to be one of these ones that came through first. And we haven't seen kind of much of him, but I know he got injured for a bit. I think eventually, as Charlie Hammer says there, Gakpo will play in the attack of a.
Yeah, we spoke to I spoke to quite a lot of PSV fans, and been in the comments tonight, and he can very much play that number 10 role for Holland. And they were saying a couple of nights ago when we done a video, as Spider alluded to before as well, top of the show, he can very much play. He's predominantly a left-hand sided, but he can play the middle and the right, but he can play that number 10 role as well.
But with getting to Frankie de Jong, I think he had links with United early on in the year, and he didn't want to go himself.
Yeah, so quite frankly, he turned around and said he didn't want to go.
Yeah, it was really down to him, and he told Barcelona were ready to sell, and he didn't want to go. He wanted to go to a better project, and I think that the likes of Liverpool or even Arsenal now would suit him more. I don't think he'd go to a place like Man City, because you've already got Rodri and whatnot in there. But for me, I think that only teams like, Arsenal mightn't be able to afford him fully, but I think teams that like Liverpool and Arsenal would suit him best. I think it would free up the likes of your Gakpos, your Thiagos and stuff like that. And even for Arsenal, there would be Odegaards and things like that to even more free form. So these are the teams that I think he would suit. But I think that Arsenal is still in the rebuilding phase. Whether they go on and win it this season, to me, it's kind of like
they're at a young age, no Spider.
Yeah,
you've got a young manager, young team. This experience will only do them beneficial, whether they get top 4 or not. But even if they do get top 4, that's ahead of their schedule, as Arteta said when he spoke to Carragher a couple of weeks ago.
If they win the league, that's huge. I would kind of put it on par to the way Leicester were, because you'd have a Man City that dropped off, a Liverpool that dropped off. You'd have, other teams that have completely dropped off against them, but they just kept consistently going, for that. I mean, Spurs were Leicester's biggest rivals in that league going, when it came up to the end of it.
United have dropped off a cliff for the last 10, 15 years anyway.
I put up a post. I wish I could share it in the show, but I put up a post. It must be 10 years ago now, and I said with Alex Ferguson leaving the club, I said that you're going to. I actually predicted everything that's going to happen. I said you're going to get probably one mediocre European trophy. I said in the next few years after dropping out of a thing, you're going to get this, you're going to get that, and I said that. But the biggest problem that's going to happen in United is convincing the fans that they're not at the level that they were anymore, and it's going to take them a good 8 to 10 years, and just still not understanding that they're not at the level what they used to be. And I get it, I totally get it, because us as Liverpool fans, we went 30 years of hurt without the league, and for the longest, no, it's not the longest, because obviously United had 41 years, Everton had 41 years without the league. All of these people, they've gone longer than what we have, but at the same time, we know from going from elite level to kind of just mediocrity for years, but we got used to it and we understood it. But for the first few years, that was hard to deal with, especially I know at my age, I'm 41. So for me in the 90s, it was kind of hard for me to deal with, kind of going through, late teens into 20s and stuff like that, and kind of dealing with that after dealing with it my whole younger life as being, on top of the world. But, that's this is what you're looking at. But getting to Frankie de Jong and stuff like that, this is why he's only appealing to. He'd only be appealing
Champions League teams.
Yeah, Champions League teams that were constantly Champions League teams. You're talking about teams like Liverpool that have been in 3 Champions League finals in the last 5 years.
Newcastle would be up there, got in the top 4 this year as well.
Yeah, if they got that, there could be, because that could be a project thing for him, and he could come in there, just being an absolute legend before even kicking a football. These are kind of things. It's like Robinho going to Man City when they got taken over.
You need that big megastar, don't you? Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, spot on there. I'll rattle through all these comments as well. We don't need to spend a lot of money on a DM or sentiment. We need his legs again, and who will be fine again, 100%, mate. There's cheaper players than Frank and Caicedo on the market who can do the job. 100% their level, where I think more or less what me and Spider have said, and a lot of what everyone said in the comments as well, mate. Stay quickly rattle through all these as well. So a lot of Man United fans this evening. So all the Mancs, hope you're having a fantastic evening. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. And why did Liverpool didn't buy a midfielder like Kudos? Well, the window's not even open, Lottie, but thank you for tuning in. It's still a long way to go.
The Gakpo deal was just done and dusted, Agent Virgil was on the case, and, the Wijnaldum and probably even Memphis, who's now in link to going back to United, was probably in his ear to say, no, go to Liverpool, then go back to United. It's that kind of way. So all this kind of stuff, yeah. So...
But yeah, Lottie, I just listened to what the PSV fans were saying in the comment section below a couple of nights ago. They're season ticket holders and people that have actually watched a lot of them, of course. And as I said,
Gakpo can play a striker. He can, and he's even better as a forward. He said he doesn't prefer to play with his back to goal, but he does he prefers being like the number 10 out of the false 9 that can turn and run at the defense. So that's where he's more suited. He's more suited to left wing, left attack in midfield. Even a number 10 role in the central attack and midfield role, false 9. And striker is his least favourite. He said that himself, but because he's backs to goal, but he can still play there if need be.
Yeah, it's having that versatile, and not just Liverpool, but I think a lot of elite level managers want players that are able and fully capable. Even that's probably an asset really for the Man United fans. You need a lot more players that are in your attacking areas, very capable, like with Rashford on the right, or players that are very adaptable, not players that are just able to play one position at all. I
get that Lottie's probably a PSV fan, but she's not realising that for the Dutch team, he has played a lot of varied positions. Mostly throughout the World Cup, he played more central attack and midfielder than he did in any sort of winging position. So that'll just tell you straight away that he's capable and he's versatile of playing should have bought Mudryk. No, Arsenal definitely will win the league, and Newcastle will go after our targets. Trust me. Or maybe, but I mean, I think Gakpo is what we need for our left-hand side. I mean, why would we buy somebody like Mudryk when we need him for the left-hand side?
Yeah, I think King's loving it. I think they are loving it in the comments. As I said, the mods are going to do the job anyway, so appreciate it.
I know, keep them in here, man. It makes it more entertaining for me.
Yeah, can't wait for the proof I'm wrong as well. Nothing rival fans did. At least we're providing some entertainment for them this evening.
Nunes is a nuisance, lads. If you're not watching what he's doing with his football, he's creating so much space for other players to score, and he's been an absolute nuisance at the same time. Once he starts scoring, we're done and dusted. Yeah,
it'll be a question I'll look at. Of course, Ravi.
Of course.
Have you not seen the price of the kits that they're selling them for over the last couple of years?
Ravi, we have
got
225 million now available from the Nike sale, and it's available every 3 windows. So that'll tell you, I mean, that's 75, 75, and 75 right there. That's available, and that's coming up right now if we need it, or in the summer. So that's 225 million without the actual further investment. So the further investment they're looking for is somebody to come in as either a big shareholder or somebody to buy out the club completely, and that's just more money. They're talking an extra 1.5 billion if it's investment to 1.8 billion, and then you're talking about at least $3.8 billion to $4 billion.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, big up Lottie. And if you're a PSV supporter as well, what will this money do to use as well? Speaking to a couple of PSV fans last couple of nights, what will that money do for you if you are a PSV fan? Almost 16 in the chat. Let's match for likes as well. People good stream and content. So yeah, big up their level as well. And there's a lot of new people as well, which is fantastic. It's great when YouTube actually does its job and promotes content for content creators as well. Enjoy your night, folks, and enjoy knowing Gakpo is ours as well. King as well. And final comments as well. Just because in midfield need another attacker. Kudos was way better option. Well, you never know. The window is still open and it's still available. And
believe me, it like we're sitting here and we're talking all about this as lifelong Liverpool fans and stuff like that. But these guys in the Liverpool, the searching panel have done their due diligence, I should say. This is more beer now. Stop me from saying words, but like you have to trust in Klopp's team and his process. You have to trust in the scouting team and their process. They haven't really had many flops, have they? When you think of it, they haven't. And when it has happened, it's been because of injury, and it's not been because of their bad choices. They're not going to have somebody that's going to come in the door and then leave 6 months later. It's just something that doesn't happen within this. He's always going to develop players. He's always going to make them better than what they are. And the player that comes in, even though if he's at a high stature, will still leave a better player playing on the club than what he did before he came in. And that's the thing.
Yeah, and as we already alluded to, chat as well, the infrastructure at Liverpool is, even if we do get a player, we're going to get the premium, more or less. Apart from the one player that you'd probably say that we wouldn't is Naby Keita, and that's, as Spider alluded to,
Anfield injury, spot on,
injuries,
right here. Mane's conversion rate was terrible at Liverpool, but he scored a lot of goals and created a lot of chances. But his conversion rate was absolutely awful at Liverpool in comparison to the shots that he had. But he came up with great wonder goals. That's it.
Yeah, big up there, Alex, as well, mate. And let us know if you do enjoy the little bit later live streams as well in the evening. Will be a lot more content. Me inspired to obviously creating that new channel, be more varied on Premier League content as well. Gakpo, no, I don't think it will be, Nate. As I said, the window's not even technically open just yet. Nope. But it's more or less agreed. But it's Spider, a massive thank you for coming on, mate, this evening, as I said. No, and chat, a massive thank you to every single one of you that is tuned in this evening. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of comments, which is fantastic. And big up to all the rival fans as well. Everyone's welcome on the channel as long as everyone's respectful. Big up every single one of you. And a massive thank you to everyone that has gotten tuned in. You are watching on the repeat. We covered quite a lot tonight. There's probably going to be a lot more content and shows to come this week as well. A lot more news, rumours, bit of everything pre-match. I've got me Leicester pre-match build-up show coming out tomorrow. That's going to be outside Anfield with Anthony. It's going to be about 10-15 minute video anyway. That'll be on the channel very soon tomorrow, so keep an eye on that. But yeah, chat, it's been an absolute pleasure and a massive thank you, as I said, for Spider taking the time out tonight And as Mark said there, please do head over and subscribe to Spider LFC as well. Big up Panov, big up Level, big up Nate, big up every single one he is. Slotty said Glory United. So, yeah, this.
Of course it's salt. There's a smell of salt off, you know.
No,
From a mile away.
No, there's a lot of Manchester United fans. Me mates started on the channel as well.
So. I have mates there as well. But even the salty, I know guys that I grew up with for 30 years, and I still call them salty because they don't know what to be salty.
As I said, we're one big footballing family as well, everyone. I hope you've all had a fantastic holidays as well, and obviously look after yourselves and do enjoy the new year. Look after yourselves, everyone. Apparently, Klopp phoned almost. You never know. Russell, as I said, there's a lot of talk almost, but we'll find out tomorrow. Big up talk as well. But big up to every single one of you that is tuned in. Hit that subscribe button down below in the comments if you are new to keep up to date on all the streams, get involved. But Spider, massive thank you, mate, for jumping on.
No problem, man, as usual.
As I said, everyone, we'll see you tomorrow. Obviously, the pre-match build-up of obviously the Leicester game, and we will be doing a lot more of an earlier stream as well. See you later, everyone.
See you later,
and a massive thank you, everyone. Cheers.